Hello, guys. I'm Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm going to talk a little bit of comic book news, and there hasn't of Image Comics. A lot of layoffs going on. Guys, it is not looking too good for the American comic book industry. And what I've predicted before, if you go back in my previous videos, talking about the Diamond bankruptcy is basically how it can cause a domino effect of in some cases, bankruptcies, but it's going to have an effect nonetheless. Not saying any company's going into bankruptcy yet, but it can have an effect throughout the industry because there's a lot of money that a lot of publishers quite simply aren't going to get. Now, Image Comics has not released an official statement on this yet, but layoffs at Image Comics hits at least 4 staffers gone. Now, I'm going to say I think there's more than 4. Image Comics has not issued a statement yet. Now, I'm going to have to back this up a little bit, but once COVID happened and pencils down kind of happened, basically because Diamond Warehouse shut down, a lot of choice publishers, DC Comics being one of them, and I was currently working on a 12-issue Metal Men series at the time. DC Comics pivoted really quick, broke out of Diamond when they said they weren't going to ship books. And basically, DC Comics ended up going with another distributor, pop-up distributor like Lunar. And there was it's skipping my name, but there were 2 at the time. Somebody in the comments will list the other one. Since then, one of them had shut down, and now basically everybody's done deals with Penguin and Random House. Why I bring this up is Image Comics, Eric Stevenson, shamed Marvel or DC Comics both for ever leaving Diamond. The Image Comics, with that said, was one of the last big publishers to leave Diamond. When Diamond basically filed for bankruptcy, they were out. Didn't matter what Image Comics' stance was about Marvel and DC. The second they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, Image was gone. Now, why I bring that up is in a previous video last week, and I have to make reference to this, the court denied bleeding cool in all these advertisements, guys, I tell you. As the court denies Dynamite over the Diamond Comic Creators Rally Around, basically, Dynamite, another publisher, cannot make payroll this week because of the amount of money that they're owed by Diamond. Now, a couple of things are happening here from my understanding, because I've listened to some other people on YouTube talk about it in the gaming industry of things. Basically, Diamond is able to sell their product off for whatever price they need to pay back banks. And they don't have to give you any of your product back, or I guess the money from those sales. So imagine Diamond, who is a distributor, holding your product and your money for about anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And they're able to liquidate the product that is yours in their warehouse to collect the money on. And what are you going to do? Resell your product to these other people and remake your product? No, it's already sold. Those customers' demands have already been met. So this is like really hard to wrap your head around if you're dealing with Diamond, how disruptive this is financially to your business, right? So Dynamite, and there's probably going to be more news this week, they're not able to make payroll. The courts wouldn't even hear Nick Brucci talk about it. To try to speed up some sort of release of funds. And this is kind of what happens with the bankruptcies. It kind of protects a little bit the person who's under bankruptcy. And I'm not going to pretend like I understand a lot about bankruptcy. I've just seen it happen in real life, whether it be in a shopping mall or a shop owner or just somebody owning a small mom and pop business. It's a way to get out of, protect yourself from debt collectors. So with Image Comics, obviously they took a hit. Even though they left Diamond, there is still some sort of hit, whether it be the trade paperbacks, inventory. They ran, but they're still taking a hit. And I think, this is me speculating, that this is where the layoffs are coming from, right? Because the money, everybody, see what's happening here is everybody's owed some money last week or this week from Diamond, and people are either tightening their belts or they quite simply can't pay their staff. Now, laying them off in this situation. I mean, if you can't pay them in the future, you're going to lay them off. Now, let's talk about the Image Comic layoffs for a second. All of these people are, I'm not going to say they're essential to Image Comics functioning because it's creator owned books for the most part, right? But these people, they're in marketing, they're publicists, meaning they're, I guess, the social media network. They're the guy, Cat's gonna get you an interview with Entertainment Weekly or something about your new #1 book or something like that. I mean, sales manager, inventory manager, these are all people that for the infrastructure of Image are kind of necessary. And when I worked at Image, I was friends with some of the staffers, and to hear them talk about it, a lot of these guys are gophering and floating in between these jobs anyways and helping each other out in some of these tasks. I mean, it's not a big staff at Image Comics. So, and I'm sure there's going to be more to this. Losing these positions, let's just focus not on the people, but these positions in any type of comic book company is going to have an effect in the future. You're going to have less people getting articles out there about your book. You're going to have less people understanding the management of sales happening in the company, less people marketing it and the design and trying to get some sort of advertisement. A lot of this is about advertising the product. And that's alarming if you were trying to do creator-owned books at Image Comics. That means that they could be less effective. And again, this is we're just seeing like the tip of the iceberg here and what I think's about to happen. We're seeing Marvel and DC quickly come together to make a crossover event with either one-shots of characters like Deadpool and Batman, or Green Arrow of all characters, and Daredevil, just because Kevin Smith wrote both of them. A lot of this is like quick cash grabs, right? Things that can be one and done in 2 months, money back real quick, and hopefully we can market these things to bring in an actual profit. And you go, well, what's the outcome of this, right? I don't know. I see an effect that's going to trickle down all the way to probably some comic shops going out of business, because if Dynamite can't pay its employees, it's probably going to not put out books. If Image can't pay employees that run the company, yeah, creators can make books, but I don't know if Image can actually sell them, quite honestly, or market them probably to any type of effective manner. And it's arguable if Image was ever really marketing and selling comics anyways, or just selling new #1s constantly. I mean, it's a creator driven movement, so maybe it can lose some of these people, but they're going to be less effective in getting those, important Hollywood articles and stuff like that that drive speculation to buying these comics to begin with. None of this is good. I have people that are talking to me that are shop owners who are concerned, like, are they supposed to keep ordering, say, like Dynamite books? I mean, is that company going to go under? See, a lot of this affects people on multiple facets. There has to be some sort of retail confidence in ordering these books sight unseen, and that you're going to sell them. There is really no good comic news. In Marvel and DC, there's no real leadership talking about this. There's no articles making anybody feel super confident. They're trying to say they're doing more Batman projects with choice talent, and sure. And these mega corporations probably can weather this. They have, studio backing like Disney and stuff. So they're able to take the hit. But last month's solicitations, there were about 13 Marvel books that were missing. Now, people are going to want to blame this on the economy. And I get it. It's an easy, low hanging fruit. The economy's not great. Let's point at that. This happened way back, during stimulus checks. All the pieces started moving that led us to here. There was no way that Diamond was going to operate at full capacity like it was, with unsellable comics that nobody wants, that are all like SJW propaganda, that are diverse points, right? Diversity, inclusion, equity, all that stuff. That stuff isn't going to sell, but it definitely isn't going to sell when Marvel and DC, after eroding the American comic book industry with this stuff, decide just to step out of the tent and let the weight of the tent collapse upon all these other small publishers that are holding it up, like Dark Horse, Dynamite, Image Comics, and so on and so forth. I said it then. I'm like, Diamond, I don't know if they can afford to lose Marvel and DC. And the answer was they couldn't. And that's why there's this bankruptcy. It's not the economy. It's a series of bad decisions over years in the American comic book industry that has led to this collapse. Now, people can go back and say, well, comics should have never left the newsstand, that this is an old system that doesn't work anymore. This system worked pretty damn good when there were readable comics that people wanted to go buy. It worked great when Civil War II and Ultimates and Justice and crisis events were happening with high creative teams. It was working great, better than great. You know, that books were constantly selling out, having to go into second, third printings. It's what you're putting into the machine, the raw material, that decides whether this machine works or not. And the American comic book industry for well over 10 years has been chasing anything it can. Headlines about characters being bisexual, gay, whatever. It has pretty much damn near ran every fan out. The last 3 conventions I've went to over a year and a half had almost 0 new comic books being sold on the convention room floor. Nobody's interested in what the American comic book industry has been selling. And they're paying over market price, right? They're paying high dollar for vintage comics or omnibus. Omnibus aren't cheap, okay? They're like $90 to $120 or more a book. And there is a growing audience that reads comics. It's just they're not buying the new shit that's going out today. And that is my belief of this market crash. Everybody's going to frame it whichever way they want. There is a domino effect happening right now. There is no official statement from Image Comics on this. I don't know how long this is going to go on, but what I am reading in all this, and what the takeaway is, I'm taking away, is there's a lot of money owed around the same time to a lot of the same people. And Marvel and DC are not going to be excluded from that, because they were still allowing Diamond to order books through Penguin Random House. So there's still money owed to Marvel and DC through Penguin from Diamond. That's how ludicrous this situation is. And Penguin had already issued a statement that they're not going to take the hit on that the bill's going to pass, obviously, to the owners of those books, which is Marvel and DC Comics. We'll see where this ends, guys. Hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. Let me know your thoughts below. And if you guys have anything I'm missing here, you can always hit us up at 9 Lives Comics. Contact us. And also go over here, back Annatomic. This is a prequel book to our hit series, Inglorious Rex, which you can still buy on our site. $81,490 for this prequel series, and it's doing great. Thank you guys for the support. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this up-and-coming comic. And again, you can buy our books in our shop, and they ship out next day.
If fighting was a god, I would worship him. I would bow to him. I would pray for victory. For he only grants opportunities. But behind every god lurks a devil. And the devil wants me to take a dive. My name is Annatomic. And this is how my legend was made.